Honourable Darren Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is for the Minister of Energy and Resources, and it asks, how can New Zealanders have any confidence in any of the figures in his Stocktake of Schedule 4 discussion document when he said yesterday that, quote, I think the numbers are going to be all over the show. Until you actually get something out of the ground, you simply don't know what the story is.
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Well, Mr Speaker, quite apart from the fact that that is blindingly obvious, I would say that New Zealanders can have confidence in the figures because they come from reputable analysis carried out by geologists and scientists, many from GNS, a very reputable Crown Research Institute, internationally recognised for its expertise in this area. And it is just common sense that until you do carry out exploration, then all you have is potential based on the geology of any particular area, and there will be contention about what that geology means. But, Mr Speaker, the underlying fact is that New Zealand is a mineral-rich country. That side of the House wants to lock it up and pretend it's not there. We think New Zealanders should have a say in whether or not they experience some of the benefits from that estate.
The Honourable Darren Hughes.
Question, Mr Speaker, to the Minister. What was the mistake that his officials were admitting to with their figures when they contacted television news at 5:30 p.m. yesterday with respect to the exploration value of gold on Great Barrier Island?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, the report that was done by Dr Richard Barker in January of this year was, yes, he is an expert, was provided to MED. It was posted on the MED website, and it talks about the values from two parts of the Ahumutu Plateau. The figure that was used by MED assessed the entire plateau. Now, that figure is assessed by Crown Minerals geologists, and I believe is consistent with the advice that was given to them by Dr Barker.
What's the point of order, Mr Speaker?
Point of order, the Honourable Darren Hughes.
Mr Speaker, I asked the Minister what the mistake was that they were referring to. He referred to Dr Barker's report, but not to what aspect of it was wrong.
Order, we're not going to debate the matter by way of point of order. It seems the Minister is disputing there was a mistake. I mean, he doesn't have to say that he doesn't have to agree with the claimed mistake when he's answering a question. The Honourable Darren Hughes, does he wish to ask a further supplementary? Because there was concern over his first question, I was going to come back to the Honourable Member to
supplementary question to the Minister of Energy and Resources. When he said that there was, quote, a degree of hysteria around this issue, was he referring to the coalition he has built of conservationists, economists, activists and geologists who oppose mining in the most special parts of New Zealand? Or was he referring to the government's defence of this sloppy policy?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I think the only people who've had a sloppy position on this policy is the Labour opposition.
Jonathan Young. Jonathan Young.
My question to the Minister, how many coal and mining permits were issued for Department of Conservation land by the previous Labour-led government?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I have previously advised the House that the previous Labour government issued 74 mining permits on DOC land. Mr Speaker, I am very happy to admit that officials have now revised those figures, and the real figure, Mr Speaker, is 218 permits on DOC land issued by the previous government. Mr Speaker, the land permitted under those 218 permits was 21,961 hectares, more than 3 times the land the government is asking if it should come out of Schedule 4.
The Jonathan Young.
Has he seen...
Order, I've called Jonathan Young.
Has he seen any statements in support of the mining industry in New Zealand?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I've already shown the House the various sojourns of members from the opposite side of the House to mining sites around New Zealand. But there is more. I want to read this quote to you in answer. The quote, I think, sums up perfectly the current government's position on mining. And it says, and I quote, I say again that the mining industry provides an immense number of jobs and dollars for the economy. We can have business and we can preserve the environment as long as the rules are tight. Mr Speaker, that statement came from none other than the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
The Honourable Darren Hughes.
Not on Schedule 4 land. Mr Speaker, to the Minister of Energy, is it still his expectation that the Prime Minister will push through with these mining proposals when it is increasingly looking like that there is more accuracy about the volume of minerals present and the recipe of ingredients for date scones than the figures in his document?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, there is a public consultation process that this government will honour, and then there will be some decisions.
Is it supplementary? The Honourable Darren Hughes.
How much longer will we see him as the caring, sensitive, uniting and in-control face of the government's mining policy for the 7,000 hectares of pristine land before we're all receiving ambassadorial postcards from him eating date scones all around the world?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee. I guess the Minister doesn't need to answer a question that really is more tongue-in-cheek than anything else. Jonathan Young.
To the Minister, has he seen any contradictory statements about where mining should be allowed in New Zealand?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, yes, I have. The Labor Party is now campaigning against mining on any part of the conservation estate. Even though, whilst in government, they issued 218 mining permits on that land. Just 1 month ago, Phil Goff was saying, and I quote, "Well, I think there's some scope for conservation."
Order. Point of order, is it the Honourable Rodney Hyde?
Mr Speaker, I think you couldn't hear me calling out point of order. We couldn't hear the answer. We over here would love to hear about the contradictions that bedevil the Labor Party in 2010, and we'd like to have the answer in silence.
Well, order. I don't need any further assistance on this. The reason why I think the House was in some kind of uproar, of course, is the Minister's answer was not strictly within standing orders. The Minister can't allege a policy being a policy of another political party in this House. That's what members observed happened. Of course, the other political party denied that's their policy, which is what debate is all about, but is not what question time is about. And ministers are not at liberty to give that kind of answer. Now, the Minister can report accurately on what policies may have been inherited by the government, but he cannot allege certain policies that may not be factually correct. The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Point of order.
Point of order.
Mr Speaker, the question was, has the Minister seen any contradictory statements about mining being allowed in New Zealand? And I was pointing out that there is a contradiction, quite a significant one.
Yeah, order. I think the Minister can answer such a question, but he needs to be careful how he answers it. I clearly heard the Minister make claims about the Labor Party's policy being something, and that's not the Minister's responsibility. Certainly if he has quotes on what, or reports on what certain members have said, then that's factual and that's accurate and he can report that. But to allege what the Labor Party's policy might be is not consistent with standing orders. Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr Speaker, I have seen a comment attributed to the Honourable Phil Goff 1 month ago, in which he said, and I quote, "Well, I think there is scope in some conservation land to extract minerals if you could do it without any damage to the environment," end quote. I have also seen a website, Mr Speaker, put up by the same person's support body saying yours, not mine's, and Mr Speaker, that makes it very clear that he is now opposed to mining in the conservation estate. That is a contradiction.
Question number 10, Louise Upson.
Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of